Caring for loved ones is one of the most compassionate and challenging roles a person can take on, whether it's tending to an aging parent, a spouse with health concerns, or a child with special needs. Caregiving requires patience, strength, and a deep well of love.
Yet, many caregivers silently carry the emotional, physical, and financial weight of their responsibilities without always knowing where to turn for support or help. So, to offer insight and encouragement and practical guidance, returning to Hope Chat today, we again want to welcome our church social worker, Sister Regina Dunlap.
She does such an amazing job.
Yes,
Now,
she
we're
does.
talking about caregiving. What are some of the key pieces of advice you would give to someone who has recently taken on the role of caregiver?
I would say some of the biggest things are to get rest. Because if you're not rested, you're not able to take care of that person well. I would also say ask for help.
Okay.
Involve family, friends, schedule breaks for yourself. So if you have a doctor's appointment, go to your doctor's appointment.
Yes.
If you need to go get your hair done, go get your hair done. Schedule somebody and allow people to help you. That is really important. Exercise.
That's a good one.
Like
Yes, that's
taking
good.
time to like eat right. Because those things just are so important. And if your body isn't functioning well, how can you care for them?
Yes.
So, what are some of the signs that a caregiver might be overwhelmed or in need of help, and when should they consider, seeking outside support?
I think when you start to see where you're having a lack of energy, when you're kind of getting irritable with the person that you care for,
Okay.
because sometimes there can be some resentment because maybe I'm not able to work anymore and I'm not getting paid for this and things of that nature. Take breaks. When you're starting to feel withdrawn, changes in your weight, up or down, those things are signs that you need to talk to someone and start involving other people in the day-to-day movement of caregiving.
Yeah, so you're like, still, even though you're caring for someone, you need to have some me time.
Definitely,
You know.
definitely. One of the biggest things I've seen, even working with the elderly, is that sometimes the caregiving spouse will pass before the person who they're
I've heard that.
caregiving for.
I've seen that.
Because they have let their health and their mental health and their what they need to do for themselves go by the wayside because they love this person and they want to care for them. But that is absolutely not good for you or the other person.
Yeah,
Yes.
First Lady and Bishop, I just went to a funeral with them and someone passed away and she was actually the caregiver in the house.
Right.
And I'm like, it's just, I just can't imagine that because then now you're like, oh no, what's going to happen with
To that
them?
person.
Right.
But she was tired.
She was tired and probably stressed and overwhelmed. And those are the kinds of things that you have to take into thought when you're deciding to be a caregiver. Like, what can I do to maintain myself so that I can care for them?
But what do you think, Gina? Because I could see a caregiver feeling guilty about taking time for themselves.
That happens very often, but it is super important to do those things. It's good for the other person. Even sometimes when you're the caregiver and you see that person all day, every day, y'all both need a break.
Yeah, true. Could be,
A
Do
break
you think
from
it's
each
a good
other,
idea to use an outside agency maybe, or someone else in the family?
Those things are perfect. To use an outside agency, there are personal care agencies with folks who have had background checks and things like that. Also, there are family members. So I have two sisters. One sister was the main caregiver for my mother. I lived out of state, so I provided some, financial, monetary things. The other sister took time to be with mom while my other sister took breaks and took her kid to the doctor and those kinds of things. So those breaks are the best.
Now, are there any kind of government programs that are available that could help with the families?
Yes, so There's one called Arizona Long-Term Care System. They call it Altex for short. And this program will provide caregivers, placement, or respite. So once you qualify for it, you have to qualify financially. It's for indigent people. But once you qualify for it, they give you a certain amount of hours per week. Now that will pay the person to be the caregiver, or it will pay a caregiving agency to do it for you. Now this one is so important because it provides respite care, and respite care is when, okay, so maybe you needed to go out of town, or maybe you needed a weekend to yourself. So this organization will allow you to either bring in caregivers for that short amount of time, or it will allow you to do like a short placement to make sure that they're cared for and you can still do what you need to do.
And you know, if you're nervous about having people in your home or something like that, set up some cameras.
Right.
You know,
exactly.
to just kind of give you some security, because you know I would be nervous
Absolutely.
about a stranger coming into my house.
Right.
Absolutely.
So maybe set up some cameras or something.
Right.
You know.
But leave.
Okay.
But lastly,
a
Sister
lot of
Gina.
times-
Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
No, no,
sorry.
go ahead.
A lot of times when people are the caregiver, and there's someone that they don't know coming in, or someone that, you know, I mean, you're not the normal caregiver. I'm good. I do this, so I'll be able to be around and tell you what to do. No, leave.
You need to leave. I get that.
leave the
Like,
house.
oh, you're not going to
Yes.
do it like I, and even the person, you're not doing it like they would. You know, I
No,
can see.
leave the house.
But you know, they're never going to. They're never going to do it the way that you would do it. And they're never going to do it the way that the individual would do it themselves.
Right, but even for the person being taken care of,
Yes.
realizing that, you know, they need help and they need rest too.
Right.
Absolutely. So what advice would you give those receiving care and how they can show appreciation and, you know, maintain healthy respect and relationship with their caregivers?
You know, you're asking that question, and it made me think about, was it last week or the week before, where Pastor Greg said thank you is a really important statement. So when you're the person receiving care, thank you.
Yes.
Remembering them on special occasions and allowing them to take those breaks.
Yes.
Those are really good ways to start, by allowing your caregiver, who is your loved one, and letting them know that you care and you're thankful for what they're doing for you.
Yes, it kind of reminds me of like when your kids are little and the first time they go to kindergarten and you're so scared to leave them.
Right.
But, you know, it's like, oh, I can go to Target. You know, just
time
little
to do
things
those
like
things.
that. Well, Sister Regina, you're so thoughtful in reminding us that caregiving isn't just a responsibility, it's a ministry. But even the most dedicated caregivers can't pour from an empty cup. Seeking support, taking time to rest, and connecting with resources are not signs of weakness. They are necessary steps to sustaining strength for the journey ahead.
So if you or someone you know is currently in a caregiving role, we encourage you to learn more about programs that are mentioned today. You're not alone with, you have the right support. You can continue to care and love with wisdom and endurance. So Sister Regina, thank you so much for joining us today and keeping us well informed and up to date. Thank you.